welcome to Open Tech Convo. My name is Serinyomarlo Nicolas, and with me is Adrian McInman. Today we will cover the second of a three-part series on crisis management. The first video focused on what to do before a crisis. Today we are discussing what to do during a crisis. So Adrian, please tell me, what is your best advice for leaders during a crisis?
The last thing people want in a crisis is a whole lot of things to remember. So I would just emphasize one extremely important thing. Stay calm. That may not sound like extraordinary advice, but it works. By staying calm, you are more likely to make good decisions, and you are more likely to handle other people's negative emotions more effectively.
Can you elaborate on why staying calm is important?
Sure, most people in a crisis will have heightened levels of emotions, especially anger, anxiety, confusion, fear, and guilt. One of those emotions, fear, causes substantial changes in our body. For instance, when we get scared, we trigger our sympathetic nervous system. This sets in motion a variety of biochemical events that aid our survival. For instance, when we get scared, we release adrenaline and several hormones. As a result, our heart rates and blood pressure increase. These biochemical changes aid us in that they make us more watchful and they help us initially freeze to avoid detection. However, these same biochemical changes also cause us to not be able to relax as well. We are therefore not able to concentrate as well, and we don't make as good decisions. However, if we stay calm, our parasympathetic nervous system dominates our body. As a result, things like our heart rate and blood pressure remain at normal levels, and thus our brain and body are in their ideal state to be able to concentrate and make great complex decisions.
It would help my audience if you could give an exact example. Could you please provide an example of someone in a crisis and their decision making?
Sure, let me tell you about a woman who was working on the 89th floor of the North Tower of the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. When the plane hit the building, she was thrown out of a chair, the ceiling fell down, and she immediately thought a bomb had gone off. She rang one of her friends and said, "I know that I'm going to make it, but just in case I don't, give your daughter a big kiss for me." With the aid of a worker, she started walking down the stairs, but became very scared when water started pouring down the stairs like a waterfall. She later recalled that too many things were going on and I couldn't think. She became even more scared when the cell tower collapsed. She began to cry, and before she knew it, she was by herself, not knowing if she should run upstairs or run downstairs. And then she cried about that. People in crises are not only handling the situation, they're also handling their emotions.
You're emphasizing the need to manage our emotions, especially fear in a crisis. What about other emotions? Are there any other emotions leaders need to control in a crisis?
In a crisis, people are usually uncertain about the cause of the crisis, the extent of the crisis, and the best course of action. As a result, fear and anxiety increase. The combination of fear, anxiety, and uncertainty can lead to feelings of helplessness, which in turn can lead to inaction. In extreme cases, people may perceive the threat as so large or feel so helpless that they withdraw mentally and physically.
Your best advice for leaders is to stay calm during a crisis. However, imagine a leader that has been in several crises and wants more advice. What would you advise them to do in a crisis?
Leaders in a crisis should acknowledge the subordinates' concerns about the uncertainty they are experiencing. For instance, leaders could say things like, "I understand that you are scared about how people are getting injured at the factory and we don't know why. Here are the steps that we have taken to find out why." By expressing such empathy, leaders are decreasing their subordinates' anxiety. Such empathy is very important for two reasons. First, when people are anxious, they seek out information from familiar sources, regardless of the accuracy of the information. Second, when people are scared, they're likely to discount information that is perceived as distressing. After providing empathy, leaders should provide a solution, as it will help subordinates feel more in control and thus decrease feelings of helplessness.
In the first video, you provided a lot of advice, but today, you're only saying that leaders should stay calm, express empathy, and provide a solution. Your advice almost seems too simple. Is that actually the case?
Exactly. In a crisis, it's very easy to get so emotional, like the woman in September 11, that you sabotage yourself by letting your sympathetic nervous system dominate your thinking. Let's finish with that point. I was teaching a crisis management course to overseas business people in Barcelona. Unfortunately, a man drove a van through a pedestrian area, purposely killing 13 people. Immediately after the incident, two of my clients met. One of them was very emotional. The other client said to the emotional client, "What did Adrian say to do during a crisis?" The emotional client said, "Adrian said to stay calm." "But this is a real crisis. I haven't got time to do that," he allegedly said. My point is simple. He is now more likely to make bad decisions. But there's one final point. By remaining calm, my other client helped the emotional client. He created a calmer, more rational atmosphere conducive to effective decision making.
So you're simply saying,
in a crisis, stay calm.